President Trump has signed an executive order that would give political appointees power over federal grants. These are your daily tax. Per the AP, the order requires all federal agencies, including FEMA, the National Science Foundation, and the National Institutes of Health, to appoint officials responsible for reviewing federal funding opportunities and grants so that they are, quote, consistent with agent priorities and national interest. It also makes it so that federal grants can be canceled at any time during the period of funding. This is a huge problem. Science as we know it operates best when left to its own devices. In a vacuum, researchers, when free to pursue what they need to pursue, are able to do what they need to do to move along their projects. Alas, funding for those measures is often done by the federal government and those agencies. Now, with this executive order, as the protocols are instituted, it makes it so that everything that is funded has to be done by a Trump-appointed official. And for a moment, let's take some partisanship out of it. If this was done by any other president or any other political official, it would be just as bad. This amount of oversight and gatekeeping when it comes to funding does not bode well for science as we know it. Because with this measure, whenever a political appointee feels like a federal grant goes beyond the bounds of what they deem to be in their purview, then they can cut it. And that means critically important research can be cut as it's going on. And this isn't just about research. It's federal emergency relief grants. It's public outreach opportunities and social growth programs. In much the same way that DOGE gave power to teenagers to overlook our nation's expenses, this means that the federal government can now give power to anyone it wants to oversee grant funding. And it means that in very real time, people who are appointed by the government can withhold funding based on political agenda. In a worst case scenario, they can claim that national interest is a partisan maneuver, and that aid and grants could be withheld from certain states or blocks of the country based as a punishment or some other sort of retribution. Is that dystopian? Yes. Is it also the reality we are faced with now? Also yes. And to play devil's advocate here, there's nothing that says that these officials will do that. The best case scenario here is that the appointees make sure that this funding is consistent with agency priorities and do, in fact, do away with wasteful spending. But what we also know to be true, especially with this administration, is that they are going to look for every loophole in the rules to assert their own agenda. And regardless of who's in office, this level of oversight can only negatively contribute to how people go about doing their research. This goes beyond regulation. It's active gatekeeping. Be sure to follow, share, and subscribe if you feel these messages are worth spreading.